Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the T-22, and this is probably one of the most hyped tanks of its time. For those of you who don't know, a few years ago, having a T-22 was like a cool symbol. All the good players wanted to have a T-22 simply because it was that good, especially back in the day. Of course, nowadays it's still a good tank, but it's not as good as it used to be, at least I would say. At the beginning, no one, and I mean no one, could absolutely penetrate the sides of this thing simply because it was made out of salnium, or whatever you pronounce it as. This tank was so well armored in regards to the side that if you went up against a noob, even if he was in a TED, he wouldn't even be able to penetrate you. That was the thing. Of course, this tank was also very, very good in tournaments. It was one of the only medium tanks that was ever, well, more or less used in tournaments. The Object 140 and the T-22 were some of the only mediums that were used in tournaments. And so the main thing is, why is the T-22 not as good as before? Well, simply because people learned how to actually start penetrating this tank a lot more easily, and of course newer and better tanks were added into the game. A lot more interesting tanks, so the T-22 kind of fell out in regards to being the community's favorite OP tank, we should call it. It's not OP, it was never OP, but it was still a very, very strong tank. And if you really did go up against a very weak opponent, this tank slapped people left and right simply because of its side armor. And of course, as you all know, the DPM on this thing is monstrous. Just a bit below the Object 140 and the T-62, and of course the gun handling and aim time, everything was great about the tank. So there was nothing really to complain. The armor on the turret and the hull itself was solid, the speed was very, very good, and of course the gun handling and DPM in general was great. So a lot of people really enjoyed this tank, especially because it's a medium as well. A lot of people do like mediums. And in the days when heavy tanks were not buffed, remember that? The mediums like the T-22 actually dominated randoms simply because they were that good. So overall, the T-22 did fall behind, but it's by no means a bad tank. And if you do see it being sold in the shop, you should definitely get it, because I think this tank is great, especially for players who are just getting into mediums. So, for example, if you're not that good with mediums yet and you're a heavy main, I think this tank could help you kind of shift, simply because the armor is quite adequate. Of course, there's the E50M for that as well, but it's just an example of the way this tank could be played. Of course, this tank is a frontline tank, mainly a frontline tank. If you're up against heavies, you have to sit behind your heavies. I really don't think I need to explain all of that. So tell me what you guys think about the T-22 in the comment section below. And with that, Happy is out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.